ladies and gentlemen, is a very different panel, as you would notice. There's a former DG, there's a present serving DG. So you may feel that you'll kind of get colored by our observations, our remarks, but I want to assure you that will not be the case. The topic itself, as you see, is the complex security situation of the Northeast. So it's not just the security situation which is complex, but the entire Northeast itself is complex. I'm glad that Chankya Dialogues decided to have this dialogue in the first place, because typically Northeast is an area which is generally not spoken of about much, very less knowledge, and whatever knowledge is there is kind of corrupted, not the truth. And most of the people haven't traveled there, but between us, we share almost close to 4 decades of experience there. I don't think you'll get any more experience than that. So we've decided to speak in a manner where I'll give a little bit on the Northeast as it exists now, the current security situation, and General Lakhera will tell you a little about what exists now. How is Assam Rifle and Indian Army handling that? Incidentally, General Lakhera was also an Inspector General serving with me when I was the Director General. So our bond goes a long time back. So let me start with the Northeast itself. Now, this is an area which is constituting only about 8% of the geographic mass of the country, close to 4% of the population. But yet, it borders 5 countries. It borders 5 countries, and it has only 1% of border or area which it shares with rest of the Indian subcontinent. Rest of the 1.8 percentage of, rest of the 98 percentage and above is with the 5 other countries. And you also have a situation like a state like, let's say, Arunachal Pradesh. A very different situation. It's the only state probably which borders 3 different countries. Then you have 2 other countries where there is a lot of instability as you speak. Bangladesh, a lot of it has come in the media. Most of you are aware of what the situation is. Every day there's something new happening, and I'm sure you're alive to the various developments. Whether the current government will be there or not is time will tell. But more importantly, where it affects the security forces as of now, particularly Assam Rifles, is Myanmar. This is a country which is 4.5 times, almost 5 times the size of Bangladesh, yet it has a population which is just 1/5 of Bangladesh. But what's happening there has a huge impact on the Northeast, and it's not just now, it's been there for ages, for decades. Let's speak of what we visualize in 2047, because that is what the crux of the discussion is today. Well, you all are aware of our Act East policy, the multiple changes that have happened over the last decade plus there in the Northeast. So surely Northeast will have a very, very major role to play, and I see a wide variety of youngsters here, large number of them. In your lifetime, you will see how Northeast will be a major driver towards the growth story of India. You will witness it yourself. So I'll just want to ask General Lakhera, so what does he, or how is Assam Rifle currently employed, and what exactly are they doing?
Thank you, sir. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much, sir. As head of DG Assam Rifles, I'll only speak what I'm mandated to do. If I cannot provide a solution, I'll not be part of the problem. Assam Rifle is symbiotic to the modern history, last 200 years of the Northeast. It has participated in all major operations. Assam Rifle, an army are symbiotic in nature. Basically, it's like body and mind, and 2 sides of a coin. As DG of Assam Rifles, I'm in charge of basically sustaining the force, the logistics, the HR. And of course, we do keep ourselves abreast with what's happening in the Northeast, as also on the borders across. We are a force who are in charge of the Indo-Myanmar border, sir, as you are aware. But having said that, we are also deployed in Jammu and Kashmir, 2 battalions north of Pir Panjal, 2 battalions south of Pir Panjal. We are the first force in a sense that truly where women have come in combat role. Like there are GD soldiers, nearly 2,000 of them, who stay in the company post, they do ROP, they do operations. And for Assam Rifle Jawan, the best moment is when his battalion is selected to go to Jammu and Kashmir to serve. Because all this while, it's one force which has seen no peace. We are always in operations, have been always in operations. In fact, we were in Sri Lanka also, sir. Earlier, when you were there, battalion was in, 4 battalions were in Jammu and Kashmir. 1,181 brave hearts, 16,800 honors and awards, 69 units citation by Chief of the Army and the Army commanders. So testimonial of Assam Rifles are magnificent, sir. But now we also find ourselves at the wrong end of the stick at times. Northeast is very, very complex, highly complex, tribal affiliations, and the history which the Britishers gave us, the policies which they enunciated in those areas. As they say that past solutions are today's problem. So a lot of our problems have come due to solutions provided many, many years earlier.
Thank you. That's a good point that you made. Yes, we must really appreciate the role that Assam Rifle has played. Like he said, Assam Rifle and the Northeast are like conjoined twins. Close to 190 years, Assam Rifle has grown along with the Northeast, and Northeast has grown along with the Assam Rifles, if I may put it that way. General Lakhera just mentioned about what's happening, very succinctly he put it about what's happening in Myanmar. I also want to draw your attention to the fact he said the huge disparity, not just disparity, but the kind of languages that are there, the number of tribes that are there, is mind-boggling. You have to actually go to see, understand how different the Northeast is. But coming back to Myanmar, as it affects, because a large impact of Myanmar is there, it's not in the news, but it's there in your face when you go to the Northeast. And let me speak from the perspective of the Northeast people. We speak of our partition in 1947. But for them, for the people in the Northeast, the first partition happened in 1937, when Burma was made a separate country. Otherwise, it was part of the British India. And there, for the people in the remote areas, suddenly a line gets drawn, which is not identifiable on ground, but yet they're told, oh, you're a different country, you're a different country. It's very difficult. Then for them, the next partition or the next cartographic imposition that happens is 1971. Suddenly, East Pakistan, now Bangladesh gets created. So all their lines of communication, everything gets cut. So imagine you being in a place and all your avenues to, let's say, the sea, for example, to Chittagong port, to Sylhet port, the rails going through what is now Bangladesh, all that gets cut. And you have just a little Siliguri corridor that connects to the rest of the country. Imagine the impact. So today, 45 lakh people are hugely affected because of this. And like he said, the role of Assam Rifle, he told you the number of awards that they've got. It's really mind-boggling. Now, importantly, with what's happening in Myanmar, you have many problems now that the country or the Northeast is faced with. You have trans-border movement of insurgents happening, weapon smuggling. More important is the drugs. In the last 2 years, in fact, last 5 years, Assam Rifle has got contraband worth 5,000 crores, if I remember the figure correct. And of those 5,000 crores, you can say roughly about 90% of is drugs. And if you check on the net, you will see out of the top 10 states of India where illegal drugs is consumed, 6 or 7 of the Northeast states out of the 8 figure there. So that's really bad. But going forward, I'm sure things will improve.
Yes, another contribution I'll talk about. The Tawang is part of India. The cycle was flown by an Assam Rifle officer in 1951, sir, Major Bob Kathing. He took 3 platoons there. Vijayanagar, the easternmost frontier of India, the last soldier, he stationed there. It was in 1961 by campaign by Major General Goraya. And Vijayanagar is named after his son. So these two part of geography are integral part of India because Assam Rifle was there. 61, one of the first bullets fired, sir, in Nefa, because Assam Rifle was predominantly a force in charge of Nefa. Eastern part of Nagaland, that is today, was not part of Assam, erstwhile Assam. It was part of NEFA. It was known as Tune Sang Hill Naga areas. And it was administered by a service known as Indian Frontier Administrative Services, predominantly officers drawn out of Indian Armed Forces. So lots of history has gone, and presently in Indo-Myanmar border, 1,643 kilometers, border pillar 1 to border pillar 186. Most of you are not aware that most restive area today in Northeast is opposite South Arunachal Pradesh. So that is 3 districts of Tirap, Changlang and Longding, known as TCL region. So just across TCL region, Pangsao Pass stands at border pillar 171. And opposite border pillar 171, there is a cluster of camps within tactical distance of the Indo-Myanmar border, and that is Alpha, the NSA and IM, the PLA, all groups are there. Similarly, when you come down towards border pillar 155, there is a village known as Lungwa. Now, Lungwa is a classical example which defines the problem of the northeast of India. It stands at border pillar 155. 50% of the village lies in Myanmar and 50% village in India. The house of the chief, which is called Ang, Konyak tribe stays there. The kitchen is in Myanmar. The dining hall is in India. So you come, and here we are. This is one of the villages. And in between, there's about a kilometer from there is post of Assam Rifles. And the border pillar 155 just resides about few feet from our post.
But because you told only half the story of that house, let me tell you the other half. There's one bedroom which is in Myanmar, there's one bedroom which is in India. He has 2 wives, one is from Myanmar, one is from India. So, when I went around with him in the house, I'm sure Vikas has also done, he spent a lot of time to tell me as to why he has to have 2 bedrooms. So, but what I'm trying to tell you is, in those areas, it is sub-nationalism which is rife. For him, it doesn't really matter. I'm not talking of this village itself, but number of villages which are there along the border. For them, it's sub-nationalism, it's their tribe which matters. He spoke of Nagaland, this Lungwa, go a little south, there's a tribe called Khaimungan tribe. Now, 65% of that tribe is in India, 35% is in Myanmar. This 65% which is here, they cultivate close to 7,400 hectares of land across. So how will he understand which is India, which is Myanmar? Which brings me to the next thing about the border fences and free move regime, which I'll ask General Vikas as to how is it impacting this announcement that the government has made last year. But before that, I just want to tell you that insurgency, as you know, it's all started from the Northeast. The Naga movement, the Naga identity itself is a fabrication of 1918 when they came back from the First World War. They've formed a Naga club. Closer to independence, they made a NNC, Naga National Council. Then they announced their independence a day before our independence. Then there's a plebiscite held sometimes in 1952. They said, we want to become a separate country. And then, of course, insurgency started in 1955. Thereafter, it just kept moving on to other states. Mizoram, then it happened in Manipur, then Tripura, Assam, all of that. But today, it's by and large subdued to a very great extent. So, Vikas, just tell them about how is the insurgency now, as also the effect of the free move regime and the border fence.
Sir, insurgency classical is by group of people and maybe demands are legitimate. Today it's not insurgency at all. They're armed groups there. They have their own interest. I'll give you an example of Nagaland. Started with one group, NNC. Thereafter, in 1980, NACN was formed. In 1988, NACN got divided between 2, NACN IM and NACN K. And today in Nagaland, there are virtually about 20 to 22 groups roughly. So there are about 18 to 20 prime ministers and presidents and army chiefs who are there. And the people today are not very, very aligned in a sense to support all of them. Also, Myanmar, there's nothing out there. So people come, and the richest part of the world, maybe if I'm correct, lies about 30 kilometers from Pangsao Pass in plains of Upper Assam. So there is a town known as Margarita, Lido, and then you come to Lekhapani and you go towards Miao. Now this area is rich in tea, timber, coal, and oil. Now this 4 combination is nowhere in the world, sir. So big tea gardens are there. To sustenance, these people come inside to take extortion, they kidnap people and they move back. So classically, it's a hide and seek game. Similarly, in other places, India becomes our part is opulent. We are developed in some sense compared to Myanmar. So people from there will definitely come here. Tribal affinity is one of the major reasons. But to say that classically insurgency is existing today, no. Now, for example, I'll say South Arunachal and Nagaland and also Mizoram, crime against women, zero. Theft, nothing. So classically, what you call law and order, which happens in this part of the country, is non-existent in northeast states. Mizoram, violence, nothing. Manipur is a different story, but classically, yes, if you say violence levels, none. In law and order domain. Nagaland, zero. Hardly any case of violence against women. So there are a lot of paradox which is existing there. And so is Assam to some extent, sir. So the Myanmar situation is only serving one thing, that people to sustain themselves have formed armed groups. Of course, there are powers which want to have a hedge against us. So they do support them. China lies across Myanmar. Myanmar itself is suffering, sir. I'll give you an example of the southern part of the Indo-Myanmar boundary, that is border pillar 1, to border pillar 30, that is the border with Mizoram, and to some extent with Manipur till More. Now that entire area, tactical area till 20 kilometers, is not in control of Myanmar army. So there is Arakan army, there is Chin Brotherhood, there is Chin National Front, there is PDF, there is KNA, and they are fighting the Myanmar army. So as we speak today, More has been surrounded from 3 sides, and battle in Pantha and Mintha, the 2 townships, is underway. North of it is NSA and IM. That is the Somra tract and Pansat. Beyond that is the Naga territory in border pillar 130 to about 155. So situation is very, very fragile, sir. And somebody commented to me the other day, when I went to Manipur, that situation is evolving like Afghanistan. So nobody is willing to give to others authority. So lack of law and order, lack of central control will be detrimental to us in some way in times to come.
That's a very heartening thing to hear. I'll take it forward from there. If you see the entire Northeast in terms of development, I began by telling you that both of us spent long times, and we've seen the growth that has come across in the Northeast, particularly in the last 1 decade. The number of bridges, when I first went there as a young officer, there was just 1 bridge across Brahmaputra. Then the second one came. Today there are 5 of them. Most of the state capitals were not connected with railways. Today you have railway tracks going, and within a matter of, I think, 2 years, all the Northeast capitals, state capitals will have trains. When we get some of those children from there to rest of the country, let's say to Delhi or somewhere else, the young students, they see train for the first time. Now, similarly, there are other investments that are happening in a big time. All through all these decades, the fear was security, and the topic itself is of security. The things have changed to a very large extent. Just last week, you would have heard of 2 top industrialists promising more than 5,000 crores of investment. In the last 4-5 years, whenever the CII, Confederation of Indian Industries, have gone there, not only have they promised, but they've actually invested. So these are very heartening signs, and going forward, if the peace dividend helps and peace prevails, then how does Assam Rifle function there? What exactly do you see other roles?
So Assam Rifle operationally is under control of Indian Army. Indian Army is the one which the terms of references of operations are given by Assam Rifles. Assam Rifle, as head of Assam Rifles, as I told you earlier, sir, and you are aware, you are DG, what is our role, sir? But we do keep ourselves aware. We do keep a watch also. And we do all the tasking which is interested to us. What I see in Northeast is, sir, that if you take classically, violence levels are down. Development, definitely yes. What is desired? No, sir. So in the tactical depth of Indo-Myanmar border, there's no development. So our point of concern is the border areas of Indo-Myanmar, sir. There are hardly any police stations, hardly any parallels or rails connecting, sir. No electricity to the extent we desire. The Indo-Myanmar, and I'd also like to mention here, I think we are the only country in the world who have an FMR like new FMR regime, in which the government of India is magnanimous enough to the citizens of the other country, and they allow them without any pass or identification. We do capture their biometrics, but I think it's a step which no other country has the heart to take. I think we are the only country which have this. And this is also to support somewhat the people along the border areas. The fencing work is on, but there are huge challenges in that because infrastructure is there, the tribal affinities are there are interest groups which are there. And this is 20th of February, and 500 crores of drugs have already been seized. So a lot of good takes as of now from Northeast, but lot is yet to be done, sir. And all of that has to be done lies in not our domains.
Absolutely, and let's be parochial by saying that Assam Rifle will have a great role to play in that. Not to discount Army, I see very senior officers here who might take it amiss. It's not that, like you said, Army and Assam Rifles are two sides of the same coin. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, let me once again thank Major Gaurav and his team for this opportunity that they've given us. Thank you so much.